On our anniversary, my 27 female wife and I were intimate, and she said another man's name during sex. He's a mutual friend. I'm at a loss. How do I navigate this? I 27 male had a verbal fight with my wife, 27 female, after an incident during intimacy. For context, we're high school sweethearts married for 6 years. We have a child, 3 male. We've been through a lot together. I love her deeply. Our marriage is in a rough patch. Our quality time as a couple is struggling. We're in counseling. We're working on making time for each other and reaffirming our bond. That's our current focus in counseling, and we're assigned intimacy exercises. Part of these exercises is for us to make a consistent, conscious effort for each other. We had a staycation to celebrate our anniversary, while our son spent the weekend at his grandparents'. The trip was largely nice and we got to better focus on each other, but it took a turn. The night of our anniversary we were cuddling, and it turned into more. My wife initiated. She was really into it and expressive, and then out of nowhere she moaned another man's name who's in our friend group. We stopped immediately. There was no mistaking what she said. She looked stunned before recovering and treating it like a texting typo or something. When I questioned why she'd say another guy's name, let alone one of our friends, she swore it meant nothing, and that she was just consumed with what I was doing to her. I couldn't buy it. I don't believe it meant nothing, not the passionate way she said it. I believe she was fantasizing about him while being with me. She insisted it wasn't like that and was only a slip of the tongue. I asked why his name in particular. First she didn't know, then said maybe because she was replying to his texts earlier in the group chat. When I pushed back, she got defensive. She said I was making something out of nothing, and that it didn't need to ruin our anniversary. I told her nothing she was saying was reaching me, and I needed some time. She tried kissing me, and initiating again like nothing happened, but I turned her down. The incident put a damper on the rest of the trip. We haven't been intimate since, and any steps we've made forward with our exercises have taken a significant leap back. We're in a cycle of awkward silence even in front of our son or her, ignoring the elephant in the room. She's being extra affectionate now, but I can't shake what happened. I never thought twice about their friendship, but now I'm seeing past interactions differently. I love my wife. She and our son mean the world to me. I've been committed to working on our marriage, but I'm at a loss here. I feel my wife isn't being honest and is attempting to rug sweep by pouring on affection. I'm left reconsidering everything. I don't know how to navigate forward. I need outside perspectives. Update. Thanks to everyone who reached out. I 27 male couldn't reply to everything, but the outside perspectives helped. A general consensus was that my wife 27 female and these issues should be tackled in therapy. I knew that's what I should have done, but I delayed. I was too embarrassed. The thought of bringing up what happened in counseling made it worse, but I knew it needed to be done. My wife didn't initially take kindly to it. She was defensive and accused me of throwing her under the bus. I disagreed. I wouldn't throw her under the bus either. The truth is, we never arranged topics in therapy beforehand. We argued over each other. Our therapist came through as a referee. She called for a timeout for us to recollect and to reflect on the objective being working towards a solution, not going at each other. We were able to talk once things cooled down. My wife was asked how she would feel if the roles were reversed. She admitted if I had said another woman's name while we were having sex and on our anniversary, she wouldn't have handled it well at all. She apologized for downplaying my feelings. While I appreciated her acknowledgement, I still thought she wasn't honest about why she said that guy's name. So I pressed. She said she didn't want to hurt me more than she already did. I told her she was hurting me by lying. She confessed that during a stint where we weren't having sex, she had engaged in fantasies to satisfy herself. One of them was of our friend. I knew the stint she was talking about. Intimacy as a whole has been a struggle, but there was a point where we were abstinent sexually. We weren't even sharing a bed at the time. We'd argue, then leave to separate rooms, or our son 3 male would share the bed with us. I asked how long she's been fantasizing about him. She said, off and on. He wasn't a constant fantasy. It wasn't necessarily about him, but more about the taboo. She swore that the fantasies meant nothing. They were just scenarios to get her there, and nothing she would ever actually want. It was tough, but I tried hearing her out instead of shutting down. Arguing wasn't getting us anywhere either. I can't relate to her about this. She's always been enough for me during good and bad times. I was always focused on her during intimacy. I told her that while I knew our marriage wasn't perfect, I thought we were getting to a better place, and we were engaging in various forms of intimacy again. She claimed she doesn't indulge in the fantasies anymore. I called bull because she did just that on our anniversary of all days. She insisted his name was only a slip of the tongue because she was replying to his texts in the group thread that day. She said she was consumed with what I was doing to her, and in the heat of the moment, his name slipped out. When I asked why she didn't tell me all of this after the incident, she said she felt guilty and afraid for our marriage. She said our marriage was already in a state of recovery, and she didn't want to blow everything up over a stupid mistake. She kept saying she didn't want him or anyone else. She only wants to be with me, and that's the whole reason why she's fighting for our marriage. The session was a lot. I was mostly quiet after she finished. She asked me to please say something, but all I could say was, I needed some time. I'm still sorting through how I feel. I believe she was more truthful, but it's difficult. Nor do I see things between her and our friend the same. I would like to work on my marriage. My wife and our son mean the world to me. I want the best solution for everyone involved. Thank you again to everyone. I appreciate the support. Okay, hope we get another update to that story. It's a difficult situation to be in. Let's check out the next one. My wife of 10 years has been cheating and ended our marriage. So, this all kicked off in January, but I will give you some background on us. We have known each other for 13 years. I met her when she was working at a bar. We got to talking, and I gave her my number before I left. We had our first date 3 days after that and became inseparable from that day, as if we were together all the time. We moved in together quickly. We were always totally compatible and comfortable with each other. Our morals and core values aligned, and one of the keys was neither of us ever wanted a divorce, especially if we had kids. She comes from a broken home and hates her father for cheating on her mother and treating his kids, her and her brother, poorly. When she was pregnant with our first, she was homesick, so I finished up where I was working for us to move 1,118 miles away, to a place I had never been before. I struggled to find work in my field in the new city. And after our son was born, I was just working retail, and we discussed my studying more to change careers. I got accepted into med school, which meant we had to move again. We moved to another state, and I studied hard while she made friends in our new location. That first year was because she ended up with a cancer scare, and we also had a miscarriage. I stopped studying that year to stay with her and our kid. We got pregnant again while I was back at study, and we had a healthy baby boy. He was born on the day of my final exam, which I skipped to be with my wife. I went back to study in the new year and completed that year. It was hard being away from them all the time and having to focus on studying so much. My wife now says I was neglecting her and the kids. I always asked her if she was okay if she needed me to do anything. She never said anything to me, just complained to her friends. I got myocarditis from the vaccine, and also when I caught in 2020, it fucked me up pretty badly, which ended up with me missing most of a year of study. And then, when I was well enough to go back to study, I got a significant spinal injury that has taken surgery and nearly 2 years of rehab to get me anywhere near being a functional human. I still have chronic unrelenting pain, but I'm managing. Through all that sickness and injury, my wife decided to first become a fitness instructor, then study to become a personal trainer, and has been working as a PT for 18 months at this point. She got herself fit and has been working on bodybuilding as well. I have always encouraged her to chase her dreams and told her she can do anything. Most of the men in her life have never believed in her. She has been away from home more and more over the last 6 to 9 months, always busy. I have become the primary parent for our kids because she leaves before they get up and often isn't home until after dinner time. Over Christmas, she was behaving distant and odd, towards not just me, but the kids as well. We were on holiday, but she was still stressing about work. On January 7th, she sat down on our bed and said she was feeling disconnected from me. We needed to spend more time together. She said she had been texting a guy from her gym for a couple of weeks and felt bad. It was nothing sexual, and nothing had happened. We discussed it as a warning. She agreed to us doing counseling. She cuddled into my arms, and we went to sleep. The next day, after further questioning, she admitted it had been sexual, nothing physical. She agreed that she would need to stop communicating with the guy, but then decided she didn't want to after she had been to work and talked to a friend. The next day it came out it was more like 2 months, and that it was over and she didn't want to do anything to help our relationship. Said she would be moving out. She went off and slept with the guy the next day when she was meant to be looking after the kids. When that guy, who was in his early 20s, my wife is in her mid-30s and I'm 42, Dumped her a week or two later, she decided we should at least do some counseling. We started counseling and agreed to a trial separation. We wouldn't tell the kids. She would continue to sleep in the spare room. And we agreed to no dating or bringing anyone else into the situation. Agreed to 6 months of trial and counseling for us, individually. And as a couple, we both started reading self-help books and exchanging the ones had read. We discussed things we found applied to us. Things were getting better. We were almost like friends again. But then she started acting weird again, to me and the kids. She had been talking to a client of hers at the gym when a guy came up and said he had been through a divorce and could give her advice, and gave her his number. This blew up over Easter because she had been hiding it, once again breaching the limited trust I had in her. Before I knew about it, she actually left the home and the kids to go clear her head. She went and spent 2 hours with this guy. From what she has told me, this guy is older than me, has a 12-year-old son he only sees once a fortnight, and has been separated for 7 years. To cut a very long story short, everything has gone back to shit and is worse than it has ever been. I don't trust a word she says. She has become unreliable where the kids are concerned. And she used to be all about them, her number one priority. She is now intending to date this friend, and from her behavior has also started a sexual relationship with him already. I'm looking after the kids 80 to 85% of the time. She is rarely at home, and when she is, she puts in minimal effort for them and their care. I had to duck out to the shops, and when I got home, she had given the little one ice cream for dinner. Her devious in general is self-centered at best, totally narcissistic at worst. She doesn't care how much pain she has already caused. She blames me for not being a safe space for her to open up. Her memory has also become totally screwed. She forgets things and has done none of the things for the kids she said she would. My parents are concerned about her, as her personality has changed. Her family isn't aware of what has been happening because she doesn't talk to them about what is happening in detail. All she has is her gym buddies telling her to stay strong and she will get through it. My life is in a shambles. The person I believed in and trusted the most has turned her back, not just on me, but our kids. I keep it together as best I can, but I struggle. I'm lucky my parents are nearby so they can come and help. I also don't have a big social support nearby because all my friends are now busy doctors or live in different states.